Alright guys, I'm gonna put all my stuff on here and show you exactly how I have everything set up as far as like my gear goes on me. Not saying it's right, definitely not saying there's no better way to do it. The cost to get into it is something that it's gonna be an investment at the beginning, but down the road, throughout the rest of your life, you're gonna have the gear for forever. So I'll just show you guys kind of quickly how I wear my pack. First off, you wanna get your water bladder out of your hair. And now if you look closely, if you try to drink out of that, you're gonna get hair in your mouth. So when you put this pack on, you wanna get it high up above your belt line, like more on your belly button. I always clip it right on my belly button. So that's gonna take a lot of the weight off your shoulders. First day, I didn't have this adjusted exactly correctly, and my shoulders were just aching like crazy. But since I got that figured out, all the weight almost is right here. They said you wanna have 80-20. Right here, we got this hip belt pocket. Easy access if I need anything out of it. I usually just keep like extra batteries, my ID and my tag in there, extra calls, keep an extra contact in there because I'm blind if I don't have it, extra battery pack to charge my cell phone, just stuff that's easy to grab that I may need. Maybe I drop my call, lose it in the heat of the moment. I know there's gonna be another one right there. That way I don't have to take the pack off and dig as the bull's coming in. Right here, keep a wind checker in my bino harness. I like to have that there because I can be walking through the woods, pull it out, quickly just check the wind, and with one hand I can just slip it right back in there. Binos here, obviously, boom, we're glassing. And I have a little compass and a thermometer on there. It's also got a whistle. It's just kind of a worst case scenario thing here for that whistle and the compass. On this side of the bino harness, I just have this little call holder. We got 3 or 4 calls in there. Quick tip from Cody, I'll take this. Right here you've got your shoulder strap. You take the bugle tube, the small end, stick it through there, then push it back. You've got a place to hold it, it's not in your way. Make sure you practice draw is another thing. Like just make sure you're paying attention to your gear and what is in the way of your bowstring when you go back to draw. So I guess I'll take this stuff off, and then I'll show you what is actually taking up all the room. So on the back, just starting from the outside in, keep these Tevas on here. That's nice for crossing creeks. You know, I take my boots off at night, air my feet out a little bit because my feet really sweat a lot and they smell really bad. A lot of the guys carry Crocs, they're a lot lighter. I would recommend also carrying something that's a little bit lighter than these, but that's what I got. On the side here, I just keep my Nalgene. I usually have that full of water, or on this trip I've been having some Mountain Ops Ignite. Also like to fill it up for dinner. That way I can just pour it right into my jet boil. In this back pouch, got a dirty bag of water that I can filter. I've got my Sawyer Squeeze filter. Man, how much are these?
40, maybe 35.
They're not crazy expensive. And if we didn't have this, we wouldn't be able to do what we're able to do. All things aside, I mean, this is probably one of the most important things that we have. I personally just fill up dirty bags, screw this thing right on the top, and you can do a lot of different things with this Sawyer Squeeze. If you buy one, watch videos. There's a lot more informative videos than I'm gonna give you, but as soon as you do this, water comes out the end, that's safe to drink. So make sure you get one of those. I've got wipes, which are great for once you've shot something, if you want to clean up a little bit, wash your face off, whatever. That's all stuff too that I'm gonna be using a lot throughout the day. So my Sawyer Squeeze, I'm gonna pop that thing out of that pocket every time we cross the creek. On this side pocket, I don't have anything in there now, but I usually just have like my day food. On this side, I've just got this little pad. This thing, the first trip, Cody had one of these things and he'd flip it out every day, sit down on it, and I was like, dude, I'm so jealous of that thing. So he was kind enough to cut me off a piece. You can sit on it, not get your butt wet. Super light, you know, there's a lot of different options for seats out there as well. Deeper in this pocket, I've got kind of the first aid kit, if you will. I've got ibuprofen, super glue. I've got a tourniquet in here. I've got just like gauze, pads, stuff like that. I've got like rash cream. That way if you're getting any chafing, antibiotic cream. That way if you get a cut, you know, make sure it's not infected. Moleskin, we got a space blanket, just in case of emergency. Extra knife blades for my replaceable knife in there. And then I've got some tape as well for blisters, athletic tape, and electrical tape. So that's a very, very basic first aid kit, but so far everything that we've used out of it has come really in handy. This panel is just my whole tent and my trekking poles. I don't ever hardly use these trekking poles, but when we shot that bull, those things came way in handy. I lay one inside of my tent just in case I gotta smack off a bear or something, you know, at night, but that's no big deal. And then that's my tent. So instead of having it in a bag, I've got everything rolled up right there. So all that fits right in that pocket. The next thing then is this hood. It's pretty easily accessible. So knife, headlamp, gum, multi-tool, my glasses because I'm blind, backup release, toiletry stuff, so like my toothbrush, my contacts, flossers. This part of the hood, I just have batteries. So like I've got all these external chargers, which are super handy because we are just running off of Onyx maps. Right now I have my phone plugged into this little one. On airplane mode, realistically, my phone can last 3 days using Onyx pretty much on and off all day. The trick is you gotta learn how to save the offline maps. So you can save offline maps. I did a bunch of 10s in this area. It's kind of middle of the road detail. I can see everything I need to see while I'm out here. I have my phone plugged in and I know I'm never gonna get lost. And I make sure I got plenty of these things just in case. The other thing is just some sleeping pad maintenance kits there, just because I don't want my sleeping pad to go down. You know, I think the things that you need to get to easily throughout the day, you have on the outside, it's just gonna make your life a lot easier. That's the hood. Let's dig in to the bulk of the pack. In here, pretty basic concept. This is my bag of food. Inside of this also, I have my jet boil. So I bought this little stuff sack to put this stove in. Just kind of keeps me a little bit more organized. Got a lighter on the outside and my spoon on the outside. On the inside is the actual burner and propane. Always make sure you got enough of that.
How many of those do you bring on a 1 week trip?
For 1 week, just one. For one guy. But they're pretty light and they're super easy to use. Next up, I've got this down jacket. And this down jacket is nice because it's super light, but it's super warm. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put this on. But as far as I guess layers go, a cheap merino base top. So a lot of times you'll see me wearing that only. Underneath that, I've got this fleece vest that I picked up somewhere from somebody. A hand-me-down, if you will, as most things I have. I've got this pair of pants that dry really quick. Really like these, they're stretchy. It's probably my favorite pair of hunting pants I've ever had. Getting into positions in the whitetail woods too is gonna be really handy. I've got a merino base bottom. Also just found these on Amazon for like as cheap as you can find. Socks, wool socks I got on, and then a pair of boots this pair of boots, Ben and I are both wearing them. The difference between like the Keens that I typically wear and these is just they have a firmer bottom. And we're not trying to be quiet out here. When we're in the whitetail woods, I would never wear these boots. I'm gonna go back to wearing my Keens because they have a soft bottom. For example, when my foot hits that stick, I can't feel it because this is firm. But in my Keens, I can feel it, and then I can put pressure on different parts of my foot to not break sticks. Again, in this hunt, we're not worried about that, so these are only gonna be used in the mountains where I need that extra foot support. It just helps with foot fatigue, so not to dive into too much, and also I'm no boot guru, so you know, take that for what it's worth. Got Ben's gloves in here because I'm a bum and don't have my own. If you want to come in here and get an overhead look. So here's my bladder. That bladder just sits in this little pouch here. I just feed it through to right here and strap it through my strap. Now, the next thing here is I've got this contractor bag in here. I've got everything that I need to sleep. If I start pulling things out, I've got this little pillow. You probably don't need this. It's probably just extra, but not sleeping with a pillow for me is pretty uncomfortable. It's worth the extra weight. And in this bag, I've got a rain jacket, just in case. It's my sleeping pad. And at the very bottom is my sleeping bag. If you were to ball all those things up individually, you'd have a heck of a time getting them in here. You've got this big bulky sleeping bag, and if you put it in a stuff sack, now it's already a shape. And you have to fit shapes around, where I can take all these things right here and just stuff them to the bottom, and they kind of form their own shape. They just kind of take shape of the bag, and therefore I can get a line to where I can just set my food on top, fold the bag all the way down as tight as I can get it to go. I'm saving room, my bag's more compact, and essentially that is what I'm carrying on this elk trip.
I think it's also important to note that all this, pretty much all this, we put together in a couple months.
Yeah. I
Planning.
mean,
with the help of Cody and the
yeah.
Born to Raise guys with the packing list, but
For somebody who wants to make the trip out here, this is totally possible. The most expensive thing is gonna be like the pack, the tent, the sleeping bag. Really past that, it's just kind of making the decision to actually go for it. And once you've got all this stuff, I mean, I'm gonna be able to use this stuff for years. I'm hoping that all these things last until I either want to upgrade or 10 years have gone by and it's just starting to get beat up. But one final thing here. Let's talk food. Every day I have a bag. It's just kind of like my breakfast, lunch, and anything in between. I've got 2 chicken creations, buffalo style. Awesome. Little baggie of trail mix. So you're gonna want to make sure you have plenty of caffeine out here if you're anything like Ben and I. You guys ever wonder how I ended up so weird? It's just like a lot of this. Freeze-dried fruit, kind of sour, kind of sweet, pretty good. I usually have 2 of these in here. I like these because they're small, but they're just super heavy. They pack a punch. This all vanilla almond butter. I also get the peanut butter ones, and then kind of like the chocolate hazelnut or whatever. Just kind of mix it up so I'm not eating the same thing every day. And then I like this Kodiak cake oatmeal. It's just a lot of protein, which when you're out here trying to keep up with calories and protein is tough. I lost 5 pounds from the 10 days on the first trip, and I don't even want to know how much I've lost on this trip after that pack out.
also those things, you can boil water and put it right in the bag,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
And if you think about it, all these things are super slender. So like when I'm done, my trash is very minimal. I can put it right back in this bag, squeeze it to like my hand size. Also, one more coffee just in case. Last but not least, good bag of jerky. Can't go wrong. And finally, make sure you get some of these things for dinner because these are real game changers. This one weighs 4.23 ounces and there's 18 grams of protein per serving. You can get a long way with one of these. Highly recommend something like this. There's a lot of different options out there too. I'm not partial to Mountain House by any means, but like these freeze-dried meals are really good. That said, I'm gonna set up my tent. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Does it break into the...
Yeah, it does. You're right. Okay, so we're on the same page. Yep.
Thanks, Jimmy Rosin.
Thanks, Jim. See y'all later. That's weird.